What is up, Fantasy Pros? Welcome back to NFL Draft Season. I'm Andrew Erickson. Today, we're continuing our series breaking down each team need division by division with part 3 featuring the NFC East. Let's dive right into the NFC East team needs. Let's start things off with the New York Giants. Entering the offseason, the top need was clear for Big Blue. Find a quarterback. But even after adding Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson during free agency, this quarterback room for New York isn't a finished product. They have to add a rookie quarterback to the mix to give head coach Brian Daboll and GM Joe Schoen as many outs as possible to find positive play out of the QB position in 2025 and beyond. Who is the future face of the franchise? The combination of Wilson and Winston does not take the Giants out of the running for Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders with the 3rd overall pick in my estimation. But what it does, give them flexibility in case Sanders gets drafted before they select, or if they have to take a different rookie quarterback later in the draft. For what it's worth, I think Sanders is going to be a New York Giant when the dust settles on night 1 of the NFL draft. Whether that's at 3rd overall remains to be seen. The Giants were previously listed at plus 150 to draft quarterback with their first pick in the betting markets. That was the second shortest odds to only the cornerback position, presumably for Colorado's Travis Hunter. Outside the obvious need of quarterback, the defense needs to improve. Injuries destroyed the defensive line in 2024, and the secondary allowed too many big plays. Outside linebacker Azeez Ojulari left and signed with the Eagles in free agency. Simply put, they need more depth. Defensive tackle Roy Robertson Harrison was brought in during free agency, but it's not enough. Luckily, it's a very deep class on the defensive line. A few potential draft targets include Michigan's Mason Graham, Ohio State's Jack Sawyer, and Texas A&M edge rusher Shamar Stewart. Cornerback Deonte Banks allowed a top 10 passer rating when he was targeted last season. Defensive back Jason Pinnock signed with the 49ers, and safety Tyler Nubin is coming off season-ending ankle injury. Cornerback Paul Adebo was signed in free agency, as was safety Javon Holland. Maybe the Giants' yearly offensive line needs aren't as apparent as the Atlanta Falcons' need for a pass rush, but it's close. Andrew Thomas played 6 games last season. Starting guard Greg Van Roten re-signed, but he's entering his age 35 season. James Hudson signed with the Giants on a 2-year deal at right tackle, but he was PFF's 3rd worst graded pass blocker last year, among tackles in just 4 games. The Giants need to upgrade the offensive line if they want any chance to improved quarterback play in 2025. A target on the offensive line that New York could target in round 2 is Purdue's Marcus Bowe. Next up, the Dallas Cowboys. John Machado of The Athletic believes that Ashton Jeanty, Boise State running back, going to Dallas is more noise than anything else, and that the Cowboys will likely draft a running back in round 2 or 3. I tend to agree given the surplus of running backs that the Cowboys have met with during the pre-draft process. That list includes Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma State, Omarion Hampton from North Carolina, Jarquez Hunter from Auburn, Caleb Johnson from Iowa, Damon Martinez from Miami, Jordan James from Oregon, Michelle Tootin from Virginia Tech, Dylan Sampson from Tennessee, and Brashard Smith from SMU. More so on offense, another wide receiver to pair with CeeDee Lamb is sensible given the current roster build. Brandon Cooks is a New Orleans Saint. Jalen Tolbert is in the last year of his rookie deal. NFL draft insider Tony Pauline noted that Dallas will potentially prioritize wide receiver in the NFL draft, and they could even move up to select one. Jerry Jones has said similar things at the NFL coaching meeting. A potential name to monitor at wide receiver, Emeka Egbuka. He's known Cowboys wide receiver coach Junior Adams since Adams coached his high school coach at Eastern Washington. Other high-end wide receivers include Colorado's Travis Hunter in a trade-up scenario, Arizona's Tataroa McMillan, Texas wide receivers Matthew Golden and Isaiah Bond, and TCU wide receiver Savion Williams. Dallas is favored at nearly 2-1 to draft a wide receiver first in the NFL draft. And yes, folks, I've already fired on that particular NFL draft bet. Get in the Betting Pros Discord to get notifications on my favorite bets leading up to the 2025 NFL draft. Back to the team needs. Beefing up the defensive line is a big need for Big D. NFL offenses were able to overexpose their run defense at times last year as they ranked 4th worst in rushing yards allowed per game. Defensive tackle Mozzie Smith has not lived up to his first-round draft expectations. Jamarcus Lawrence is gone. Even after re-signing Osei Odigizua, the defensive line is far from finished. Solomon Thomas, Dante Fowler Jr., and Peyton Turner are all nice depth pieces, but they are hardly foundational pieces to a defense. Dallas might look for guys like Landon Jackson from Arkansas, Mikael Williams from Georgia, Walter Nolan, defensive tackle from Ole Miss, and Shamar Stewart, defensive end from Texas A&M. Another cornerback also might make some sense. given that the cornerback free agents Dallas has to overcome that they lost. Jordan Lewis, slot corner, signed with the Jags this offseason. They don't have a lot of depth at the position. You can never have too many good cover cornerbacks in today's pass-happy NFL. Trevon Diggs' contract is also structured in a way that the team can be flexible with him. He's been tough to rely on after missing 21 games the last 2 seasons with knee injuries. The Cowboys traded for cornerback Kyer Elam, but he hasn't been that good. Texas' Jadar Barron, Kentucky's Maxwell Hairston, Michigan's Will Johnson, and Notre Dame's Benjamin Morrison are logical cornerback targets for the Dallas Cowboys. I also think adding experienced offensive linemen to bolster the interior will be advised. Zach Martin retired. Former Dolphins guard Robert Jones was signed in free agency, but just on a 1-year deal. I'm somewhat surprised that offensive line has the second shortest odds for the sports books among the top positions for Dallas to draft based on their current roster construction. Before I get to my next 2 teams, we have to talk about the Fantasy Pros Dynasty Rookie Draft Simulator. Our draft simulator lets you complete a mock in minutes with no waiting between picks, customize your league settings to match your league's exact format. Premium subscribers can test trade scenarios by mocking with their traded draft picks, prepare for rookie drafts and dynasty startup drafts all in one place. Use the Dynasty Rookie Draft Simulator to dominate your rookie draft today at fantasypros.com/simulator. Now, back to the show. Next up, the Washington Commanders. The Commanders released defensive tackle Jonathan Allen and edge rusher Dante Fowler Jr. signed back with the Dallas Cowboys during this offseason. Fowler actually led the team with double-digit sacks in 2024. However, they at least signed Javon Kinlaw, defensive tackle, to a 3-year deal. I think the Commanders have done enough on the interior defensive side of the ball to improve against the run in 2025, so increasing the pass rush is the number one need. I'm going to call my shot here. At some point during the NFL draft, I think they're going to select UCLA edge rusher Oluwafemi Oladejo. Landon Jackson from Arkansas is another edge option they might consider, along with Ohio State's JT Tuimoloau. Both top running backs between Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Eckler will also be free agents in 2026. I'd be shocked if they don't draft a running back in such a strong class to save salary cap space in future seasons. One of the reasons why I think Brian Robinson Jr. is a must-sell in Dynasty Fantasy Football. Some other running backs that have been connected to the Commanders include Auburn's Jarquez Hunter, USC's Woody Marks, and Oregon's Jordan James. Even after Washington traded for wide receiver Deebo Samuel, I still think he's a band-aid fix at best. He signed a 1-year deal, $17 million, and they still need more long-term options among the wide receiver room outside of Terry McLaurin. Either Iowa State wide receiver between Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins would be great additions. The secondary also needs help. After finishing bottom 3 in PFF coverage grade in 2024, a healthy cornerback, Marshawn Lattimore, should help. They also signed Jonathan Jones to a 1-year deal worth $5.5 million, but they still need additional depth. Lattimore is not exactly known for staying super healthy. The Commanders improved their offensive line this offseason after acquiring Laramie Tunsil from the Texans, but they could use another tackle. Andrew Wiley is in the last year of his deal. However, it's not the biggest need given they have 2024 third-rounder Brandon Coleman on a rookie contract. I think an interior offensive line might be a bigger need, given that guard Sam Cosmi is going to miss a lot of 2025 after tearing his ACL in January. There's a surplus of offensive linemen in this year's class who have tackle and guard eligibility, so they won't be limited by their options. Oregon's Josh Connolly would be a nice fit. The Commanders are favored to go offensive line with their first pick, but I can't help but see the value at more than 2-1 odds for them to go with the defensive trenches. Stacked class for edge rushers. Wide receiver at more than 10-1 odds also seems like a nice long shot fit as well. Last but not least, see what I did there? The Philadelphia Eagles. Just so we're clear at the top though, folks, the Super Bowl champions have a stacked roster. There's a reason they won the Super Bowl last year, so a lot of these needs are a bit nitpicky. However, we all know the Eagles are just going to draft the highest remaining Georgia Bulldog defender on the board anyway. Georgia safety Malaki Starks, you are a future Philadelphia Eagle. But jokes aside, I do think the secondary is probably the biggest area of need, particularly at the safety position. Look, the Eagles acquired offensive lineman Kenyon Green from the Texans as part of a pick exchange with safety Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. That gives them a slightly bigger void at that safety spot. The Eagles might need more depth at cornerback after moving on from several guys from last year's team. Kentucky cornerback Maxwell Hairston is a name to keep an eye on for this Eagles defense. I'd also anticipate more investment into the edge and pass rush department. Milton Williams is gone alongside Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham, who retired. Boston College's Donovan Ezeraku is a potential target as an edge rusher late in round 1 the Eagles are favored to draft defensive linemen with their first pick, which I tend to agree with. Given the strength at tight end in this year's class, I wouldn't be surprised to see them draft one. Howie Roseman is always one step ahead of replacing these guys. The two tight ends on the current depth chart are in the last years of their contracts. Dallas Goedert is on the trade block. LSU's Mason Taylor might be a sneaky target for Philly in the second round. I also don't hate the idea of another wideout given the lack of depth behind Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown, both whom got injured last year. More interior offensive line pieces always seem to be in play for Philadelphia, with Mekhi Becton signing with the Chargers during free agency. To quickly review the NFC East team needs: New York Giants, quarterback, offensive line, defensive tackle, and cornerback. Dallas Cowboys, running back, wide receiver, defensive tackle / edge, cornerback, and offensive lineman. Washington Commanders, edge, interior offensive line, running back, cornerback, and wide receiver. And the Philadelphia Eagles, safety, edge, cornerback, tight end / wide receiver, and interior offensive line. And that's going to do it. Those are the team needs for the NFC East teams. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, share with all your friends, and let me know in the comments. Do you agree or disagree with the team needs that I've set up for the Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, and Giants? But before you do, don't forget, if you want to check out our Dynasty Rookie Draft Simulator, it lets you complete a mock in minutes with no waiting between picks. Customize your league settings to match your league's exact format. Premium subscribers can test trade scenarios by mocking with their traded draft picks. Prepare for rookie drafts and Dynasty startup drafts all in one place. Use Dynasty Rookie Draft Simulator to dominate your rookie draft today at fantasypros.com/simulator. Thanks for tuning in.